So, Mr. Soludo, you are making a claim that the audacious economic reform, according to your speech, that was carried out by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has actually prevented Nigeria from tipping over, which you claim also that is recognized globally, according to this article on top of me here. Mr. Soludo, number one thing I want to actually ask you, I understand that you are basically into economic profession, but the question I want to ask you as an economist that you are is that did this audacious economic reform carried out by Mr. President decline the inflation or decrease the cost of living for ordinary people on the ground? The answer is no. Did this audacious economic reform that was carried out by Mr. President actually reduce the debt of Nigeria? The answer is no. Instead, it attracted more debt to it. Now, if we want to talk about the audacious move to actually tackle the economic challenges that Nigeria is facing, which does not actually felt by the ordinary people, that is fallacy statement, if for lack of a better word, that you are actually praising a president which under his administration people are actually cannot afford food to eat. The cost of living is high, inflation is racketeering the fabric of the country, and yet you are actually up for the recognition that is always unique, especially for nations like Nigeria, who does not care about the livelihood or the life of ordinary people on the ground. Because if they are actually recognizing the economic reform that has put the life of people into different types of crime in order to survive, that is because Nigeria is still under the shackle of neocolonialism. So they ought to recognize every move made by anybody who they select to be in the position of power, and you as an economist or someone in the that was in the financial sector should know better. We understand that the education system we are using is a Rockefeller education system where they create, which was meant to create generation of workers and not thinkers. We can understand that very well, but in this situation, the cost of living is too high in Nigeria. The people cannot even afford, to buy food. People are doing all sorts of things just to make money to live in Nigeria. Inequality just because of high cost of living is actually also a problem in Nigeria. And now you are telling us that the process that the existing president took in order to reform the economy is the audacious one, and it is actually recognized globally. That is utter rubbish because people are still struggling under that economy. The cost of living, the inflation rate, the dollar rate, the exchange rate rather is still high, super high, even worse than the previous administration. Now, if you want to tell me that the previous administration is the reason why all these economic challenges is actually coming up, I will say to you, what has the current administration done? What has the current administration, what move has he made, or what step has he taken in order to make sure that those who actually looted the country into dust are brought to book? Nothing. So you cannot tell me it is the previous administration. You cannot tell me it is, because the system that everyone is dependent on, which is the system that keeps Nigeria together, is a system that will always praise failure. Again, failure that is felt by the people, but they praise it. They will never praise anything that will help the people to thrive or that will help the economy to be independent of colonial agenda. So, Mr. Soludo, with all due respect, what your statement is basically, is bullshit, if I must put it this way, because it doesn't make sense. We know the cost of living in Nigeria It's nothing to write home about. Everything is expensive. How much is bag of rice? How much is bag of gari? How much is bag of beans? Why is the we it is unique that global recognition will always come to countries that the people are suffering, or the economic decision that will enable you to be overly indebted, or that will enable you to attract more IMF funding or IMF loan or even World Bank loan. That is what we know. As long as they are actually, your economic reform enable you to have access to more funding or more loans. That is what they recognize. Not economic reform that cater for ordinary people on the ground that cannot afford their means of, or their cost of living. They will never recognize it, and you should know better. Instead of coming to lie to Nigerians, claiming that the current administration took audacious move in order to reform the economic status of Nigeria to better it, it has not been bettered. It is gone down to the dust. In case if you do not know, or you are actually playing partisan, that or you, I don't know what you guys are playing, the type of politics you guys are playing in Nigeria is so dangerous that there is no one who speaks the truth. That it even makes people who are very educated to appear to illiterate. I rest my case. You can read the article, it is from Channel Television. You can read it for yourself, so that you will see how Soludo is praising the administration, that people are crying, people are dying of hunger, malnutrition, starvation, people are committing all sorts of crime just to make money to put food on their table. That is this administration. Yet Soludo, educated Soludo, is praising this administration. What a pity. That is the reason why I don't want to be part of this project called Nigeria, that they cannot even speak truth to power. Because I want to speak truth to power at all time.